The Galactic Assembly Station floated in the darkness of neutral space like a jewel made of light and metal. Thousands of species came here to trade, to argue, to make deals that would shape the future of entire worlds. For most of them, this was normal. They had been doing this for thousands of years, for humanity. It had only been 40 years. Ambassador Kong Murray stood at the edge of the great chamber. Watching the delegates move like streams of color across the polished floor, some walked on two legs, like humans. Others floated, crawled, or moved in ways that still made her head hurt if she watched too long. She had learned to keep her face calm no matter what she saw. That was the first lesson of diplomacy among the stars. "You're making us wait again," said Dr. Lee Yuna, standing beside her. Yuna was smaller than Murray, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. She had spent 20 years studying alien languages and cultures. She knew more about the galaxy's species than most of them knew about themselves. "Let them wait," Murray said softly. "Patience is not weakness." The session was about mining rights in the Outer Rim. Earth needed resources to grow, to build, to become something more than a small blue dot in an ocean of stars. The Assembly had promised to consider their request 3 times now. 3 times they'd been told to wait. Today would be different. Today, the Valari Dominion had requested to speak. The Valari were old. Their empire had existed for 6,000 years. They had conquered worlds, destroyed civilizations, and built monuments to their own glory across 100 star systems. Now they were fat and slow, living on the wealth of the past. But they still had power. They still had votes in the Assembly. And they still looked at humanity the way a giant might look at an ant. Representative Torith entered the chamber, and the crowd parted for him. He was tall, with skin like polished silver and eyes that burned with cold fire. His robes cost more than most planets earned in a year. He moved like he owned the room. In many ways, he did. "The matter of Earth's mining request," the Assembly Speaker announced. "Representative Torith has the floor." Torith smiled. It was not a kind smile. "I have reviewed humanity's request," he said, his voice filling the chamber like oil spreading across water. "And I must say, I am amazed. Amazed at their boldness. Amazed at their ambition." He paused, letting the silence grow heavy. "Amazed that a species that has been among the stars for barely a moment believes they deserve the same rights as those who have shaped this galaxy for millennia." Laughter rippled through the chamber. Not from everyone, but from enough. The Valari allies. The species who wanted Valari favor. The ones who saw humanity as nothing more than entertainment. Yuna's hands tightened into fists at her sides. Murray touched her arm gently. "Wait. Humanity's temporary noise," Torith continued, warming to his performance. "They breed fast, die fast, and forget everything they learn. They have no history worth remembering. No culture worth preserving. No wisdom worth sharing." Turned to look directly at Murray. His burning eyes found hers. "Your request is denied. Not because you don't deserve the resources, but because in 100 years, no one will remember you existed. Why waste good, or on ghosts?" The chamber exploded with laughter. Species that had never agreed on anything united in mocking the human ambassador. Some pointed. Some made gestures that needed no translation. Murray stood perfectly still. She thought of Earth. She thought of her grandmother, who had survived the Great War and rebuilt her home with her bare hands. She thought of her father, who had worked in the factories that built humanity's first starships. She thought of the billions of people who were counting on her to bring home hope, and then she smiled. It was a small smile, gentle, almost sad, the kind of smile a parent gives a child who doesn't know any better. She stepped forward. The laughter faded, replaced by curious silence. What would the human do? Cry, beg, storm out in anger? Murray bowed. It was a perfect bow, the kind her grandmother had taught her, respectful, dignified, unhurried. "We understand," she said. Her voice was soft, but somehow it reached every corner of the chamber. "We will remember this." Then she turned and walked out. Yuna followed. Neither of them looked back, in the observation deck above the chamber. Captain Park Ji-woo watched the scene unfold on a display screen. She was a small woman with short black hair and eyes that had seen too much death to be surprised by cruelty. Beside her stood Lieutenant Choi Sun-ho, young and angry, his jaw tight with rage. "We should respond," Sun-ho said. "We should show them what we can do." "No," Ji-woo said quietly. "Not yet. They insulted us. They mocked us in front of the entire galaxy." "Yes, they did." Shu turned off the display. "And now they think they know who we are. They think we are weak, emotional, easy to dismiss." She looked at Sun-ho. Her eyes were calm, but something burned beneath the surface. Something old. Something patient. Let them think that. Let them believe they have nothing to fear from Earth, because when the time comes, their surprise will be absolute. Sun-ho didn't understand. Not yet. He was young. He still believed that strength meant showing your weapons, raising your voice, making threats. Ji-woo knew better. She had studied history. Human history. The long, bloody story of a species that had learned, again and again, that the loudest voice in the room was rarely the most dangerous one. The most dangerous ones were the quiet ones, the patient ones. The ones who smiled and bowed and said, "We will remember." Because humanity always remembered, and humanity always collected its debts, far below. Ambassador Kong Murray walked through the station's corridors. Her face was serene. Her hands were steady, but in her heart, a clock had started ticking. The Valari had made their choice. They just didn't know it yet. 6 months passed like water through fingers. On Earth, the seasons changed. Children went to school. Farmers planted rice in the fields of Korea. Fishermen sailed out of Busan Harbor. Life continued as it always had. But beneath the surface, something was moving. Admiral Kim Do-yeon stood at the window of his office in Seoul, watching the city lights spread out below him like fallen stars. He was 53 years old, with gray hair and a face carved by decades of service. He had fought in 3 border conflicts, negotiated to peace treaties, and buried more friends than he could count. He had never wanted war, but he understood that sometimes peace was only possible. When your enemies believed you were capable of terrible things, the door behind him opened. Captain Park Ji-woo entered, followed by Dr. Lee Yuna and Lieutenant Choi Sun-ho. They moved quietly, taking their seats around the long table. The room was sealed against all listening devices. What was said here would never leave these walls. "Report," Do-yeon said, turning from the window. Gi-woo activated the display. Coup images filled the air above the table. Trade routes, ship movements, communication records. "The Valari are not satisfied with insulting us," she said. "They have begun a systematic campaign to block our expansion. In the past 6 months, they have closed 3 trade routes that we depended on. They have spread propaganda across the assembly, telling other species that humans are dangerous and unstable." She paused, her jaw tightening. "And 3 of our merchant vessels have gone missing near Valari space. No distress signals. No wreckage found. Just gone." Sun-ho leaned forward. "That's over 200 people. Crews, families, children. We know," Yuna said softly. "We know every name." Do-yeon walked to the table, his hands clasped behind his back. "What do the Valari believe about us?" "They believe we are weak," Ji-woo answered. "They believe we are too divided to respond effectively. They think our democracy is chaos, that our debates are proof of confusion. They see 40 years of peaceful expansion and assume we are incapable of anything else." "They think we are prey," Sun-ho added, unable to hide his anger. Do-yeon smiled. It was not a happy smile. "Good. Let them think that." He touched the display, and new images appeared. These showed things that no one outside this room had ever seen. Ships, weapons, defense platforms hidden in asteroid fields. Technologies that the Valari could not even imagine. "For 40 years, we have played the role of the harmless newcomer," Do-yeon said. "We smiled, we bowed. We asked politely for what we needed, and while we did that, we built." He looked at each of them in turn. We studied every war in galactic history, every species that rose and fell, every mistake that led to extinction. We learned from all of it, and we prepared. Yuna stared at the display. I had no idea. No one does.
Da-da-da-da-da.
That was the point. Doyen turned off the display. We did not become peaceful because we are weak. We became peaceful because we learned through centuries of blood and fire exactly what we are capable of when we are not peaceful. He walked to the window again, looking out at the city. The question now is simple. Do we reveal ourselves? Do we show the galaxy what humanity really is? Or do we wait until the Valari force our hand? Silence filled the room. Ji-Woo spoke first. If we wait, more people will die. The Valari are testing us. Each time we do not respond, they push harder. Eventually, they will do something that cannot be ignored. But if we reveal ourselves too soon, we lose the advantage of surprise, Sunho countered. And we invite other species to see us as a threat. There is another option, Yuna said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. We give them a warning. One warning. Clear, polite, undeniable. We tell them exactly what will happen if they continue, and we let them choose. Goyan considered this. A warning, not a threat, not an attack, just information. Yes, we show them that we see everything they are doing. We show them that we are not blind, not weak, not divided. And we tell them that our patience, while great, has limits. And if they ignore the warning, Yuna's eyes were steady. Then whatever happens next is their choice, not ours. We will have given them every chance to stop. Doyan nodded slowly. It felt right. It felt human. Throughout their history, humans had always preferred to give warnings before they acted. It was not weakness. It was something deeper, a belief that even enemies deserved a chance to make better choices. Who delivers the warning? Sunho asked. Everyone looked at Ji-Woo. She had known this was coming. She had felt it in her bones since. The moment she watched Ambassador Kong Bo and leave the assembly chamber, this was her task. This was what she had been training for. I will go alone, she said. One ship, no fleet, no visible weapons. I will request a diplomatic meeting with Representative Toreth, and I will tell him, face to face, exactly what humanity knows and exactly what we will do if he does not stop. He will laugh at you, Sunho said, just like he laughed at Ambassador Kong. Ku smiled. It was a cold smile, sharp as a blade. Let him laugh. Let him feel safe. Let him believe he has nothing to fear from one small woman on one small ship. She stood, straightening her uniform. The warning will be quiet. It will be polite. It will be the last chance the Valari ever receive. Doyen extended his hand. She took it. Speak softly, he said, but make sure they understand. They will understand, Gi-Woo promised. Even if they don't believe it, when this is over, no one will be able to say, we didn't warn them. She walked out of the room, ready to change the course of history. Behind her, Admiral Kim Doyen watched her go. He thought of all the war humanity had survived. All the times they had been underestimated. All the times they had risen from the ashes of their own destruction. The Velari had no idea what they had awakened, and by the time they understood, it would be far too late. The Handbit was a small ship. From the outside, it looked like nothing special. A simple diplomatic vessel, the kind that carried ambassadors and trade negotiators across the galaxy. Its hull was plain gray. Its engines were standard. Nothing about it suggested danger. That was exactly how Captain Park Ji-Woo wanted it. She stood on the bridge as the ship crossed into Valari space. Lieutenant Choi Sunho sat at the tactical station, his fingers dancing across the controls. Dr. Lee Yuna monitored communications, translating the Valari chatter that filled the space around them. They've spotted us, Yuna reported. 3 patrol ships are moving to intercept. Let them come, Ji-Woo said calmly. We have nothing to hide. The Valari ships were beautiful in a cold way, silver and sharp like knives made of light. They surrounded the Handbit, their weapons glowing with barely contained power. A voice crackled through the communication system. Harsh, arrogant. You have entered Valari space without permission. Explain yourself or be destroyed. Gu stepped forward. This is Captain Park Ji-woo of the Earth Diplomatic Vessel Handbit. I am here to request a meeting with Representative Torith. I carry a message from the people of Earth. Silence, then laughter. A message? The Valari do not receive messages from insects. Turn around or die. Ji-woo's voice did not change. Please inform Representative Torith that I am here. Tell him the humans have something to say. I believe he will want to hear it. More silence. Longer this time. Hold your position. Do not move. They waited. Minutes stretched into an hour. Sunho grew restless, checking the weapons systems again and again, even though they both knew the ship carried almost none. They're making us wait on purpose, he muttered. Playing games. Let them play, Ji-woo replied. We have all the time in the world. Finally, a new message came through. Torith had agreed to meet. He would board the handbit personally. He wanted to see the human who dared enter Valari's space with nothing but a message. Ji-woo prepared the meeting room herself. She set out tea, real tea, from the mountains of Korea, brewed the way her mother had taught her. She arranged the cups with care. She placed a single flower in a small vase at the center of the table. Sunho watched her with confusion. You're serving him tea? After everything his people have done? Yes, Ji-woo said. Because we are not them. We do not abandon our culture because our enemy has abandoned theirs. We show him who we are. Calm, respectful, civilized. And if he sees it as weakness? Ji-woo looked at him. Her eyes were gentle, but something ancient lived behind them. Then he is a fool. And fools rarely survive their foolishness. Representative Torath arrived with 4 guards, all of them armed. He walked into the meeting room like he owned it, his silver skin gleaming, his burning eyes scanning everything with contempt. Ji-woo bowed. The same bow Ambassador Kang had given him 6 months ago. Perfect, patient, unhurried. Representative Torith, thank you for coming. Please sit. I have prepared tea. Torith laughed. Tea. You crossed into Valari's space to offer me tea? Tea is how my people begin important conversations. It allows time for thought, for consideration. Torith sat, but he did not touch the tea. He leaned back, arms crossed, waiting. Ji-woo poured tea for herself. She took a small sip. Then she set down the cup and looked directly at Torith. For 6 months, the Valari Dominion has worked against Earth. You have closed our trade routes. You have spread lies about our people. You have turned other species against us with propaganda and bribery. Torath's smile widened. You came here to complain? How pathetic. Ji-woo continued, as if he had not spoken. 3 of our merchant vessels have disappeared near your space. 217 people, crews, families, children. We have found no wreckage, no distress signals, just silence. She reached into her jacket and placed a small device on the table. Images appeared in the air, faces, names, children smiling, parents holding babies, young couples starting their lives.
Wow.
These are some of them. Pilot Han Jung-gu, 28 years old. He wanted to buy a house for his mother. Engineer Bae So-mi, 32. She was 3 months pregnant with her first child.
What?
Torath's smile faded slightly. Why are you showing me this? Because I want you to understand that we see everything. We know everything. We are not blind. We are not distracted. We are not divided. Ji-woo's voice remained calm, but each word carried weight. We have been patient. We have been peaceful. We have asked for nothing but fairness and respect. And in return, you have mocked us, stolen from us, and killed our people. She stood slowly. So I am here to give you a message. One message. One warning. There will not be another. Torith stood too, his guards moving forward. You dare threaten the Valari. I am not threatening you. I am informing you. Ji-woo's eyes met his without fear. Stop. Stop the trade blockades. Stop the propaganda. Stop the attacks on our ships. Stop now, and there will be peace between us. Continue, and you will learn that our patience, while vast, is not infinite. Toreth stepped closer, trying to intimidate her with his size. She did not move. Or what? He sneered. You'll cry to the assembly? You'll write angry letters? What can humans possibly do to the Valari Dominion? Jiwoo smiled. It was a small smile, almost sad. I hope you never find out. But if you force our hand, you will understand why humans have survived everything our universe has thrown at us. We did not become peaceful because we are weak. We became peaceful because we chose to be. Because we learned what happens when we are not. She bowed again. This is your warning, representative. Remember it. Toreth stared at her for a long moment. Then he laughed, loud and harsh, and turned to leave. Insects, he muttered. Temporary noise. He walked out with his guards. The airlock sealed behind them. Sunho let out a breath he had been holding. He didn't listen. No, Giwoo agreed. He didn't? Then we failed? Jiwoo looked out the window at the Valari ships flying away, still laughing, still confident. We didn't fail. We gave them a choice. What they do with it is their responsibility, not ours. She turned to the navigation console. Take us home, Lieutenant. As the handbit turned toward Earth, Sunho checked the long-range sensors. His eyes widened. Captain, there's something strange. At the edge of our sensor range, brief flickers. Like shadows. Jiwoo smiled, but said nothing. She knew what he was seeing. Ships, hundreds of them. Humanity's hidden fleet, watching from the darkness. They had been there the entire time, just beyond detection, waiting. Patient. The Valari had laughed at one small woman in one small ship. They had no idea what was waiting in the shadows behind her. 3 months after Captain Park Ji-woo delivered her warning, the Valari gave their answer. New Busan was a mining colony on the edge of human space. 50,000 people lived there. Miners, engineers, teachers, children, families, who had come to build a new life among the stars. The colony was not beautiful, but it was home. The people there had planted gardens in the rocky soil. They had built schools and markets. They had named the streets after places on Earth they would never see again. On a Tuesday morning, while children walked to school and workers started their shifts, Valari warships appeared in the sky. There was no warning, no demand for surrender, no chance to flee. The attack lasted 17 minutes. When it was over, 3,000 people were dead. Buildings were burning. The gardens were ash. The streets named after Earth were filled with bodies. The Valari claimed it was a border dispute. They said New Busan was built on territory they had claimed centuries ago. They said humanity should have known better. The Galactic Assembly offered condolences. They expressed concern. They formed a committee to investigate, but they did nothing. Dr. Lee, Yuna watched the news feeds in her office on Earth. She saw the images. The burning buildings, the bodies covered with sheets, the faces of survivors, empty with shock. She thought of the 217 people who had disappeared on the merchant ships. She thought of Ambassador Kong Murray, bowing politely while the galaxy laughed. She thought of Captain Ji-woo, serving tea to a monster who was already planning murder. And she felt something she had not felt in years. Something cold and terrible. Raged across Earth, the same feeling spread, but it did not explode into chaos. There were no riots, no mobs, no burning buildings. Instead, there was silence. 1 billion people united and perfect. Terrible silence. Admiral Kim Do-yen addressed the Earth Defense Coalition that night. The room was full of generals, admirals, politicians, and diplomats. Every face was hard. Every eye was cold. 3,000 of our people are dead, Do-yen said. His voice was steady, but those who knew him could see the ice beneath. Children, families, people who trusted us to protect them. He paused, letting the weight of those words fill the room. The Valari were warned. Captain Ji-woo went to them personally. She asked them, politely, to stop. She gave them every chance to make a different choice. And they answered by slaughtering our people. He looked at the faces around him. Anger, grief, determination. For 40 years, we have been patient. we have been peaceful. We have hidden our strength because we hoped we would never need to use it. We believed that if we showed the galaxy who we really were, they would see us as a threat. So we smiled, we bowed. We let them laugh at us. He stood straighter. That time is over. A murmur went through the room. Not surprise. Release. We will not destroy the Valari. We will not become what they are. We will not slaughter innocents to punish the guilty. Do Yen's voice hardened. But we will show them exactly what we are capable of. We will make them understand, in a way they cannot ignore, that the age of laughing at humanity is finished. He activated the display. Plans appeared. Ship movements. Target coordinates. We are not going to war. We are going to teach a lesson. One lesson. And when it is over, the galaxy will never look at humanity the same way again. Captain Park Ji-woo stood at the back of the room. She had not spoken since returning from Valari space. She had read every name of every person who died at New Busan. She had memorized their faces. Now, finally, she stepped forward. Admiral. Request permission to lead the operation. O'Doyen looked at her. He saw the steel in her eyes. The cold fire that burned beneath her calm surface. You gave them the warning. It seems right that you deliver the consequence. Giwoo nodded. They called us temporary noise. They called us insects. They killed our children and expected us to cry and do nothing. They have no idea what they have awakened. Humanity has survived ice ages, plagues, world wars. We have crawled out of the ashes of our own destruction again and again. We did not become the species we are by being weak. We became this by being absolutely, terrifyingly determined to survive. Her voice dropped to almost a whisper, but everyone heard it. Valari think they know what humans are capable of. They are wrong. And in 1 week, they will understand exactly how wrong they have been. The room was silent. Then, slowly, everyone began to stand. Not saluting. Not cheering, just standing, united, ready. Du-Hyun gave the final order. Prepare the fleet. All ships. All stations. We move in 72 hours. As the room emptied, Lieutenant Choi Sun-ho found Ji-woo by the window. What are we going to do to them? He asked quietly. Gi-woo looked out at the night sky. Somewhere beyond those stars, the Valari were celebrating. They thought they had one. They thought humanity would weep and beg and eventually accept their place as prey. We are going to show them the truth, she said. We are going to show them that the quiet ones are always the most dangerous, that the patient ones are always the most prepared, that the peaceful ones are peaceful by choice, not by nature. She turned to face him. And then we are going to give them one more chance. One final moment to decide who they want to be, because that is what makes us human. Even now, even after everything they have done, we will offer mercy. And if they refuse, Ji-woo's eyes were cold as the space between stars, then God help them, because we won't. The Velari homeworld was called Velar Prime. It was a beautiful planet of silver cities and crystal towers. 12 billion Valari lived there, confident in their power. Certain of their place at the top of the galactic order, they woke that morning to find their sun dying, not exploding, not collapsing, just dimming, slowly, steadily, like a candle running out of wax. The light that had warmed their world for millions of years was fading. Panic spread through the silver cities. Scientists ran to their instruments. Military commanders shouted orders. Politicians demanded answers. None came. And then, in every communication system on the planet, a voice spoke. Calm, quiet, almost gentle. Good morning. This is Captain Park Ji-woo of the Earth vessel Hanbit. Please do not be afraid. Your son is not dying. We are simply adjusting it temporarily. Representative Torith stood in the command center of the Valari military, watching his son grow dim. His silver skin had gone pale. His burning eyes were wide with something he had never felt before. Fear. How is this possible? He whispered. How can they control a star? No one answered. No one knew. Ji-woo's voice continued. Meant, 3 months ago, I came to you with a warning. I asked you politely to stop attacking our people. I gave you every chance to make a different choice. You laughed at me. You called humanity temporary noise. You called us insects. The sun dimmed further. Shadows spread across Velar Prime. Then you attacked New Busan. You killed 3,000 innocent people, children, families. People who had done nothing to harm you, in the darkness. Jiwoo's voice was the only light. We could destroy you. Right now, with one command, I could remove your sun from existence. Your planet would freeze. Your people would die. 12 billion lives ended in hours. Torath's hands were shaking. He had never shaken before. He had never been afraid before. He had always been the one who made others shake, who made others afraid. But we will not do that, because we are not like you. The sun stopped dimming. It hung in the sky, weak but stable. This is what we have been capable of for 40 years. This is what we could have done the moment you first insulted us. The moment you first blocked our trade routes. The moment you first killed our people. Giwu paused. We chose not to. We chose patience. We chose peace. We hoped that if we showed you kindness, you would learn to be kind. We hoped that if we showed you respect, you would learn to be respectful. We were wrong. In the command center, Torath collapsed into a chair. Around him, Valari officers stared at screens showing Earth ships. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Appearing from nowhere, surrounding Velar Prime in a sphere of silent, deadly patience. So now we will teach you the lesson you should have learned long ago. Humanity is not weak. Humanity is not temporary. Humanity survived ice ages and plagues and world wars. We clawed our way out of the mud. We fought and bled and died for every step forward, and we did not become peaceful because we cannot be dangerous. The sun began to brighten, slowly, steadily. We became peaceful because we chose to be. Because we learned that violence destroys everyone, including the victors. Because we decided that the universe is big enough for all of us, if we treat each other with dignity. Full sunlight returned to Velar Prime. The shadows retreated. The crystal towers gleamed again. Your sun is restored. Your people are safe. We have not fired a single weapon. We have not killed a single Valari. Jiwoo's voice softened. This is your final chance. Stop the attacks. Stop the propaganda. Stop treating other species as prey. Learn to live among the stars as neighbors, not as conquerors. If you ever harm another human being, if you ever threaten another human world, if you ever forget what we showed you today, we will not dim your sun again. Pause. Long and heavy, we will remove it. And we will do it before you even know we are there. The communication ended. For a long moment, no one on Velar Prime spoke. The military commanders stared at each other. The politicians sat frozen. Even Torath, the great representative who had laughed at humanity, who had called them insects, who had ordered the attack on New Busan. Even Torath said nothing, because what could he say? What could anyone say? They had looked into the face of a species they had dismissed as weak and temporary, and they had seen something ancient, something patient, something absolutely, terrifyingly capable of destroying them all, and that species had chosen mercy. The human fleet vanished. Not retreating, simply gone. Their stealth technology made them invisible, untraceable. One moment they surrounded Velar Prime, the next. Empty space. The Galactic Assembly received Earth's formal statement the next day. It was short. Humanity does not seek war. We do not seek conquest. We seek only to live in peace among the stars, as equals, with dignity and respect. But we will not be bullied, dismissed, or attacked without consequence. Our patience is vast. It is not infinite. Remember this. The Valari Dominion issued a formal apology within the month. They paid compensation to the families of everyone who died at New Busan. They reopened the trade routes. They stopped the propaganda. They never troubled humanity again, across the galaxy. Species that had laughed at Earth began to reconsider. The elder races, the ones who had lived for thousands of years, nodded to themselves. They had seen species like humanity before. The quiet ones, the patient ones, the ones who smiled and bowed and gave warnings instead of threats. Those were always the most dangerous. Ambassador Kong Murray returned to the Galactic Assembly 6 months later. When she entered the chamber, the delegates rose, not in fear. In respect, a representative from one of the eldest races approached her. We wondered how long it would take, the ancient being said. Every great species has a moment when they stop hiding what they are. When they show the galaxy their true face. Murray smiled. It was the same smile she had given Torith all those months ago. Patient, gentle, hiding depths no one could measure. And what do you see when you look at humanity now? The elder considered. We see a species that could have ruled through fear, but chose to lead through example. A species that could have destroyed its enemies, but offered them redemption. A species that understands the most important truth in the universe. What truth is that? The elder's ancient eyes met hers. That true strength is not about what you can destroy. It is about what you choose not to. Array bowed. The same bow her grandmother had taught her? Perfect, unhurried, full of patience that had outlasted empires? Earth has arrived, she said, and we plan to stay. She took her seat among the great powers of the galaxy, and no one ever laughed at humanity again.